Hey, good morning. This is Gail, the Gardening Gal, and today we are going to plant grocery store garlic. Yes, garlic that I bought from the grocery store. This is not organic, but I'm going to show you what kind of garlic to look for if you're going to try this, and then we're also going to plant it. So, let's get started. Sometimes when you look at garlic at the grocery store, you'll notice that it's sprouting somewhat. And this clove is a really good example of it. But I can see that this one is sprouting as well. So if they're sprouting like this, then that's a really good chance that they are going to go ahead and grow, as well as all the different cloves in this garlic. First thing you want to do is separate out the cloves. So you can see I've just pressed this, and I'm going to remove the outer layer of the clove, but I'm not going to totally strip it. Just remove a bit of the outer papery layer, like so. Now this is pretty much what you want your garlic clove to look like. So I've got a little bit of the papery on it, and that's okay. But it still has this inner, what I call paper layer. And we'll compare it to this one, which I accidentally stripped of all of its paper, and I accidentally broke off the bottom of it. Now it's sprouting. I have no idea if this one's going to live or not, but let's go ahead and plant it along with all the other cloves that I've stripped, and we'll see what happens. Now I have a 1 gallon grow bag right here, and I've got it about 1/3 filled with just a mix of, let's see, coco coir, some potting soil, a little vermiculite. Now I've got some earthworm castings, so not a ton, just some, and I'm going to sprinkle them in. So I'm not going to use all of it, just going to use some of it. And then swish it around. Break up any loose bits. Next I'm going to take a little bit of, this one is Garden Tone. It's an herb and vegetable fertilizer, organic. I'm going to take some and I'm going to sprinkle it through. So sprinkle it down, and then I'm going to mix this in. So this is going to end up being the base where the roots grow in. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in a little extra. Now I've got a little bit over half of this container, and I'm going to just bounce it a bit, and you can see that that settles the soil some. So now you can see I really do only have about 1/2 of it filled. So here I have 1 clove, and as you can see, I want to plant it with the growing tip up. So I'm just going to put it in the soil like that. Then I'm going to take a few others and put them in as well. Now, if your garlic clove isn't sprouting, just take a look for this end. And this is going to be where the roots are growing. So this is, I want to plant it in the soil like this. Now, if you're not quite sure if your garlic clove is a little cut off or something like that, you can plant them this way. And the roots will end up growing down and the top will end up growing up. But I like to start planting mine, the way that I think that they're supposed to go. You can see I have 5 in here, and I'm going to take my 6th one. This is the one that I don't know if it's going to grow or not. I'm just going to put him right in the center. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of water, and I'm going to water around them. I mentioned that this really, in July, this isn't really the time of year to start growing garlic here in the Northern Hemisphere, because they're not really going to be forming large bulbs, 2 months or so. I have little tiny bulbs, and when you slice them, they are so nice and sweet. Now that they have a little bit of water, I'm going to start covering them with some more of my potting mix. Now I'm going to tamp this down a little bit like I did before, and see if there's room for any more of the potting mix. Now that I've got enough soil to cover it, I'm going to take a little bit more of the organic fertilizer, and I'm just going to spread it around a little on the top. I'm going to add a little bit more soil just to kind of get it mixed in a little bit, scoot it around with my fingers some. I'm also adding a little bit of earthworm castings. Now, the earthworm castings are really kind of optional. You don't have to do them. However, I like adding them because they seem to add just a little bit of extra goodie, or so to speak, to the soil. Okay, now I'm going to press it down just slightly. So I'm not pushing it down, I'm just lightly pressing it down. Now I'm going to add some water. I actually ended up giving it about 3, and you can see that the water is starting to flow out a little bit. I do like the fabric grow bags probably best compared to the plastic ones, but I'll talk about that in a separate video. I'm going to put this in an area where it's going to get some warmth and a little bit of sun, so it's going to be in a kind of a dappled sun area. Once I see that there are like 2 or 3 of these that have come up through the soil, then I'll move it to a slightly shadier, or excuse me, slightly more sunny area. Now here are some that I planted several months back, and you can see I've still got some green, but I've also got some brown on it. These are pretty much ready to harvest, so let's go ahead and pick one out. We have to dig a little bit. How about digging a lot of it? Okay, here we go. So as I pull all this off, you can see I've got all these roots, and I've got a miniature clove of garlic here. So you can see as I bring it up closer, you can see where, it's starting to form. Actually, I called it a clove, but this is a miniature bulb of garlic. So you can see where it's trying to form little cloves here and there. And then the original clove that I planted is somewhere in the middle. So you can see I've got 3 nice little cloves or bulbs of garlic. I don't know why I keep calling them cloves. But 3 bulbs of garlic. I will take them in and I will clean them off and use them in my spaghetti sauce tonight that I made with the tomatoes that I harvested. And they will be wonderful because they're nice and sweet at this particular size. Now I planted these back in probably April, and that's really too late for a good bulb size. You should plant these like very, very, very early spring, like maybe March or so, or plant them around September, October, and they'll kind of overwinter in the ground, and then you'll have nice big bulbs come next year. But I just wanted little tiny ones, and that's what I got. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video on planting grocery store garlic bulbs. This is Gail signing out, saying have yourself a great day and happy gardening.